Hi everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood librarian, Melissa from the Cumberland Public Library. I am so excited to be able to share this with you all. I miss you. I can't wait until the building is open again and we can go back to some live programming. Although if you like this, we will definitely keep doing things like this. We just miss you. My whole team misses you and we can't wait to see you again. If you're not a library user yet in Cumberland, we hope that you'll watch this video and see some of the really cool offerings that we have and choose to come and visit us back when we are back to normal. So, the reason we are here today is I know many of you are concerned about finances and many of you are really considering all of the different options that are out there for your viewing needs and desires. So we're going to talk today about cutting the cord and how you can spend less to get way more. Here we go. So do you really need to cut the cord is the first question. So a lot of people say, Miss, of course we've got to cut the cord. We want to save money. That is a great reason to cut the cord, but it is not the only reason. There are a few things that you'll need in place in order to be able to do it, which we will talk about in a couple of minutes. But there are two really, really good reasons for cutting that I would like to discuss first. Because it's going to be part of your overall experience. And if you're not having a better experience, then there's definitely less of an argument for cutting the cord. So the first one is personalized content. If you choose your streaming channels well, then you are going to have a lot of content that you really, really enjoy. Everybody has their own particular likes and dislikes. We have a special section today for our sports fans, because your streaming options and needs definitely vary from the more traditional television / film needs. So we're going to get to everybody today. But by the end of the day, you'll have a better idea of what will have content that you like and where to find it. Also unique content. So the streaming wars are on and everybody is racing to produce new content. Netflix is kind of ahead of the curve right now. They're not only producing television shows, they're producing feature films, which many of you may know are even up for contention in some of the major awards seasons. So they are definitely the front runner, but they're definitely not the only one producing original content for their online channels. So usually when that happens, it means that, oh, sorry about that. Usually when that happens, that means you can't find it anywhere else except for the channel that made it. So if you fell in love with the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, like I did on Netflix, Netflix is the only place I'm going to be able to see it. And chances are, quite frankly, Netflix is never putting that out on DVD. Same goes for a lot of the other major channels. Hulu does a lot of saving of programs from network and cable television. So the Mindy Project, for instance, if you loved it and you want to see the later seasons produced by Hulu, chances are it will never ever be on DVD, and this is going to be your only way to watch it. But that's okay. We have a plan so that you get to have your cake and eat it too. The first thing to consider is whether or not you're really going to save money. Um, Over the last couple of years, cable has definitely caught on to what is happening, and their services have not adapted well, but the one thing that they can do is continue to raise their prices on their internet service. So in Rhode Island, we have Cox Communications and Verizon as our main service providers. In southeastern Massachusetts, we're a border town. So, hey, Massachusetts friends, if you're joining us today, They have Comcast and Verizon. I don't believe they have Cox Communications, but I can be wrong about that. It's been a long time since I worked in Massachusetts, so it could be changed now. But again, instead of trying to find a way to compete to save people from leaving the cable services, they've raised their internet prices. So you can definitely still save money, but the days of getting all of your TV for like $35, $40 a month are over. I'm sorry. I hate to be the bearer of that bad news, and I hate to pay the bill every month on my own end. We have cut the cord in my house, so I'll talk to you today a little bit about my experiences others have shared with me, and just some of the facts about what you need and what's out there. Definitely write down your questions. I'm happy to answer anything. You can call and leave a message at the library, 333-2552 extension 2. You can hit us up on Facebook or melissa@cumberlandlibrary.org. I am happy to answer all of your questions. So just keep track of those as we go. Other things to consider before you make the jump: how often do you actually watch television? Now, there are a few people out there that may say, you know what, at the end of the day, I really don't watch that much television. And I'm not talking about the stuff that you have on in the background while you live your life. I'm talking about, what do you sit down and watch? What is appointment TV for you? And it's also important to figure out, is it sports? Is it movies? Is it television shows? Is it a combination? What is your appointment television time that you are actually actively engaged in whatever it is that you're watching on television? And again, when you sit down, what is it that you're watching? For instance, my guilty pleasure is anything that comes from the Hallmark Channel. I just love some Hallmark movies, right? So that is a definite reason for me to say, okay, I need to look at a service that will provide these channels. We're going to talk about a couple of services that do that today. One is Sling, which offers it as part of a cable-like package, but I can also buy those channels for $6.99 a month from another streaming service that'll give me like 10 other channels with it. If that's the only thing I'm really watching, why would I pay for the streaming service, even though it has more, if I'm not going to watch more? And again, we will talk to our sports fans later in the program. Do you watch a lot of sports? What sports? And how many seasons worth of sports? If you have a sport every season, you're going to be a different kind of viewer than somebody who is only in for football or is only in for basketball. And do you watch college? Do you watch professional? Really kind of figure out what those sweet spots are for you. And at the end of the day, if you could only have those sweet spots, what would they be? Chances are you're going to get way more than you ever imagined, but be prepared to say, this is what I cannot live without. Okay, so what do you need to drop cable? We've already talked about the internet provider, because you still are streaming. You still need internet coming into your house. We also talked about, how they kind of have a little bit of a, not quite monopoly. There is an option, but it's not for everybody, called HOTSPOTS. It's just a little device. It's about the size of 2 deck of cards, wide and super thin. That could be your answer. All of the major phone companies have them: T-Mobile, Verizon, Sprint. They are great if you do a lot of traveling, if you find yourself in hotels a lot, airplanes, work conferences. Even if you're not traveling, if you're at work conferences where Wi-Fi can be kind of iffy, or work locations where Wi-Fi can be kind of iffy, they are wonderful. If you're a camper, it can be a godsend to actually be able to get that internet access. But most people don't use them for their home internet, because data is what you're paying for, and it adds up very, very quickly. So a hotspot could be your answer if you're only checking email daily, if you are not, using a lot of data to stream movies or doing gaming, like online gaming, there are sites that take up more bandwidth than others that all counts against your data. There are several offers out there right now. If you Google hotspot, actually I would suggest, I did this last night, I would suggest doing internet hotspot, because if you just do hotspot, you get a list of all the virus hotspots right now. So if you Google internet hotspot, then it'll give you a list of all the different providers and what kind of deals that they're offering right now. It was perfect for us because when we moved into this house, we had about a week or so that we had to wait before the cable guy was able to come and connect us, and we were both like, oh, that just won't do. So I was able to borrow one from a local library. And again, if you email us, we can let you know. Libraries aren't lending them right now, but once we're all back open and ready to go to the public, Greenville, Lincoln, Providence Community Libraries, Warwick Public Library, and several others. Again, if you email me, I can send you the complete list of libraries do offer them. So if that's something you wanted to try before you buy, that is something you could do. And again, it worked wonders for us. I was a little surprised, actually. It was a T-Mobile hotspot because our home is pretty huge and we have a finished basement. So I was like, there is no way it's going through those basement concrete walls and we're going to have access down there. And our house is tall. So I was like, I don't know. I just don't know if this is going to work. And it did. So if your house is super, super long, you might have some spots that it won't hit. Again, you have to look at it and see how it fits into your lifestyle. Regular streaming should be okay, but again, depending on where and what you're streaming, it could become something that gets more expensive than cable. So check those deals. It's a great way to try it. Again, try it before you buy it, right? To see if you are actually really ready to cut that cord. Okay, and a quick note about phone services. So when you call the cable company, chances are they're still going to try and get you to do a bundle, even if it's not the 3-pack with cable, phone, and internet. They're going to try to get you to, at the very least, for a better deal, they're going to try and give you phone and internet. Magic Jack is wonderful. We've used it in our house for at least 5 years now. You get the initial device, it's like $35. You pay like an extra $25 for your first year of service. At the end of my first year of service, they offered me 7 years for $35, so I jumped on it. So I still have 2 more years before I have to pay another phone bill. We actually only use ours as an emergency backup. We both have cell phones, so mostly the landline is getting telemarketer phone calls. One thing I love about Magic Jack is that whenever we get a voicemail, it emails me. So I can listen to the voicemail right through my email, or I can look and see, and if I see it's just a telemarketer number, I can delete it, and all is well. To be honest with you, we haven't even plugged in our landlines in this house because I can get everything through my email. And the only thing that you want to be aware of with this is that if your internet goes down, your phones also go down as well. So it's not a landline in the traditional sense where that'll stay up if the power goes out, although a lot of times that wasn't the case anyhow. But you know, for $35 for 7 years, I couldn't say no, and it gives us the backup landline. Of course, and many of you I'm sure already have, can skip the landline altogether. Okay, so once you get your internet decided and taken care of, the next step is to get a device that you can stream from. Now, to the right, where my mouse is right here, you can see a television. At the bottom, you see all the apps on the bottom. So this is your modern day smart television. If you have a television like this, that is all you need. If you have an older television, or if your television is very picky about what apps it will and won't install, depending on the brand of the television. Vizio is great. Samsungs are great. Depending on the television, they'll have more options than others. So you might want to get an additional device. We use the Roku. We love it. It costs about $35. It's a one-time expense. The thing that you do need to note is that every television will need a streaming device in your home. Now, the Google Chromecast, I just want to talk about for a second because we're here. I don't know what's going on with the Google Chromecast. If I had to guess, because they're seeming to be less and less available, I might think that Google is phasing them out, but I don't know that for sure. It absolutely works. Well, it's there and it works. If you have one or can get one cheap, definitely go for it. And then Amazon has the Fire TV stick. I chose to go to Roku partially because I didn't really want something that was just trying to sell me Amazon all day. However, if you do have an Alexa, it does come with the remote, the voice remote. Mostly I was just trying to make sure that I didn't have any smart devices such as an Alexa or the Google Home in my house. So Roku perfectly works for us. The other option that you have is your PlayStation, your Xbox. Definitely, I am not positive about the Wii or the Wii U, but definitely your Xboxes and your PlayStations will be able to get you online and act as that Roku or Amazon device. It'll have a place with your apps where you can choose what you want to watch. The nice thing about dropping cable, all of these streaming services you can access not only on your televisions, but once you have an account, you can access them on your tablet, your smartphone, laptops. It's almost like a 2-for-1 deal because your content moves with you. And most people aren't going to have enough devices or people in their home to have to worry about maxing out accounts. Everybody can watch whatever they want, whenever they want. Okay. The other thing that you're going to need if you don't have the smart television is an HDMI cord. So most of your devices, if not all of them, are going to connect to your television with the HDMI cord. Now, if your television is super old, so I would say the last 5 to 7 years, you should be okay. After that, as far as technology is concerned, those televisions are a little older now. You might want to look into see if you could either get an adapter for the HDMI cord, or some televisions might just not be able to do this at all. Hopefully you can figure out a way and there's not a new television involved, but definitely you want to make sure that if you have that HDMI cord slot already, life is going to be way easier going forward in this process. Okay, so you have your hardware. You have your internet service. The only thing left to get now are your streaming accounts. And again, this is where all of your choice comes in. We're going to, oh, sorry. Okay, no, I thought a different slide was next. Okay, so let's talk about Amazon Prime for a moment. It's probably my least favorite of the big 4 services, which you see right here, plus Netflix would be number 4. We have a whole Netflix place to share as well. Amazon Prime, we actually don't count as part of our streaming budget. We count that as part of our annual doing business with Amazon budget. As much as I try to buy local and support small businesses, I still end up doing enough of shopping with Amazon every year that the Prime account is worth it for shipping. So in our house, we don't consider this part of our streaming budget. That being said, I also find Amazon to be the least user-friendly of all of the streaming accounts as far as finding information that's available for free to watch on Prime, and their interface is not my favorite at all. However, there are a ton of great options and add-on bonuses with the Amazon Prime account, including reading material and music and all sorts of other good stuff. So if you have a Prime account already, look into the extras. If you go into the account section, it'll show you everything you're eligible for with your Prime account. And again, there's some really cool features. As far as streaming accounts, it is my least favorite of the group. Next, we have Hulu. So Hulu came out a little bit after Netflix, and what they're showing is a lot of television. They also do movies, and in recent years, they have started picking up television shows that have been canceled on their home networks and giving them extra seasons, which has been pretty awesome. So if you were, again, the Mindy Project is the first one that comes to mind. So if you loved it there on network television, now you can see how the show progressed on Hulu. They do also show movies. You can watch Hulu for free. So I would suggest signing up for a free account. The catch is that there are commercials like every 2 minutes. But at least if you sign up for an account, a free account, you can kind of see what's available and if it works for you. And Hulu is relatively cheap. I believe it is only $6.99 a month. That I could be wrong. It might be up to $12.99 now, but it's still definitely less than Netflix. Doesn't have as much original content as Netflix, but they are working on it. So now you see Sling here. Sling is essentially cable, except you pay far less for it. That is the image that I pulled there is actually not the actual price. That is, I believe, a Sling gift card. I like that it just showed the different channels, and as you can see, you can have options of Disney, Comedy Central, FX, CNN, a lot of the big ones. ESPN is here. But what I like is that it really is a la carte television, and they're moving more towards that. There's two main services. You pick one of those services to buy, and then you will add in your add-ons. So I believe it's $35 a month if you want just one of the basic services. I pay an extra $5 a month. I get all 3 Hallmark channels, plus Oxygen, plus like 5 Lifetime channels. For that extra $5 a month, and it is cable. Like I said, it is the same exact channels at the same exact times with the same exact commercials. So whereas Hulu and Amazon Prime, you can kind of stop and go, and Netflix, you can stop and go and binge or not. You're on your schedule. Sling is great because you're not missing any of that content if there was particular content that you were interested in, and it's just a better way to get cable for less money. So yes, I know it kind of stinks that you have to pay for these services. So every month you'll have your internet fee. The devices that we talked about to get you to the app services, the streaming services, those are a one-time cost, so one and done. And then again, your streaming services, this is one of the reasons why it's so important that you really sit down and have that honest talk with yourself about what you actually watch, what you actually want to see, and what kind of access you want to have to what kind of programming, because it's easy to buy everything at first and get overexcited and overwhelmed, and then now you're paying just as much, if not more, than cable. Again, you don't have to do that. You also don't have to keep your services forever. We'll talk about that in a minute, but for those of you who are still saying to me, if I still have to pay for television, why don't I just keep cable? There is a reason. Don't forget that unique content that you can't get anywhere else. But also, it's without a wait and on demand. So you're watching on your schedule, when you want, what you want. The access that you're going to have is far more than you will have even with 200 channels at any given time with cable. So it is giving you access to much more, and because the services are services that you've picked because you're interested in their content, it's going to be much more viable, enjoyable, interactive content for you rather than just something you have on in the background. I promise if you choose your services carefully, you make, a good deal with your internet company, you will save money for a better viewing experience. And for most of us, saving money would have been enough. But the fact that you're getting a better viewing experience makes it worth every ounce of work that you have to do to cut the cord. So the big four. So Netflix is, of the four, I think Netflix wins everything, right? If we're honest with each other, some people love Prime, some people love Sling, some people love Hulu. Everybody has Netflix. I think my account's like up to $18 a month now, and every now and then I'm like, I think I'm going to drop Netflix. There's no real reason for me to have it. In my house, we watch a lot of stand-up comedy, and that's kind of Netflix's jam right now. So every time I'm like, I'm gonna drop Netflix, I go on and one of my favorite comedians will have a new stand-up special. A couple of years ago, I was like, this is it. Netflix and I are done for a year. We're good. The new Gilmore Girls revival came out, and I was like, oh. So I keep trying to leave Netflix, and they keep pulling me back in. It happens. Same thing with Hulu and Veronica Mars, but we won't even talk. As mad as I was about Netflix, I'm so much more mad about Veronica Mars. And if you have any desire to discuss why, I would love to talk up both shows. We can totally have a TV chat. If enough of people want to have a TV chat, we'll do it. We'll do a live, like a Facebook Live, where we can all chat as a library event. Okay, so this is the one to watch. This is the one that wants to be the next Netflix/cable/sports behemoth. YouTube TV is a live subscription service. It offers over 70 channels, so you have that cable experience. It is not cheap. It is $50 per month. It does provide you access to the major news stations and entertainment channels. Where you really get your bang for your buck is if you're a sports fan. If you are a sports fan, definitely check out YouTube TV. For YouTube Premium, it is an extra $12 a month. It's giving you ad-free access to YouTube originals, documentaries, and movies from its celebrity creators. Okay, so when we say celebrity creators, those are your YouTube famous people, your YouTube fanatics, your influencers. So it might be something you're really into. At this point, I really haven't heard of any YouTube original shows that I'm like, oh, gotta catch that. I still think YouTube TV is very much in the baby steps of what they want to do and where they're going with it. So at this point, unless you're a sports fan, I would say skip the YouTube for now. Not forever, just for now. Someday you will definitely want it. Okay, so just to reiterate a little bit, Sling, that's your most cable-like experience. The add-ons are great. They have sports add-ons. They have family add-ons. They have add-ons in several different languages for television shows and stations, particularly in a language other than English. Hulu, again, not a ton of original content, but the stuff that they put out is really good from what I understand. Again, it is not one of my go-tos, but it is a solid choice. If you love TV, it is absolutely, like TV shows, it is absolutely a solid place to be, and as one of the less expensive streaming services with the most popular content, it is definitely a viable option for you. Netflix, and actually this goes for Hulu too. So everything that they have, it comes and goes. So just because, Friends is here today, there was a big, Friends is leaving Netflix. because they have to have a contract with the owning company for how long that they can show the programs and movies and whatnot. So content is always changing, but Netflix is definitely leaning more towards original content. If you go to your homepage in Netflix right now, you'd be hard pressed to find an entire row without like Netflix at the top of each item, which is to tell you that it's a Netflix original. They are putting millions to trillions of dollars worth into this, and this is where they really want to head. It doesn't mean that there's not high quality television. There absolutely is, but it goes back to that unique content that you can only get through Netflix, and that is where they're focusing their minds right now. Again, Amazon Prime. I personally have Amazon Prime as part of my Amazon budget, not as part of my television budget. Again, look into what other freebies and what other services you get because of Amazon Prime and see if it's worth it for you. It definitely is worth a trial, and all of the streaming services that we've talked about today will give you free trials. So try it before you buy it. And even then, so if Netflix has a show coming on that you're dying to see, well, pick it up for a month, watch your show, and then drop it. None of these are long-term commitments. They're month to month. So it does give you the opportunity to play a little more, maybe splurge a little bit when that new season or that new movie that you've been dying to see comes out. And these are super specific streaming services, but if you like the content, they're brilliant. Friendly TV is the one I've been discussing about the Hallmark channels. So it has the 3 Hallmark channels: Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, and Hallmark Drama. Plus it has a lot of family-oriented programming. It's got a weather channel. It's got the game show network, a fishing channel. That's $6.99 a month for Friendly, and you get all 3 Hallmark channels. Vudu is expanding the amount of content. Most people probably know Vudu from when you buy a DVD and you take that slip out, and if you put it in on Vudu, that means you can stream it forever for free because you own it. They are doing a lot now with trying to bring other streaming content out there, so it might be something to look into. Or if you have a large personal DVD collection or already using it, it might be something that you can add to your streaming experience. And then if you love all things British television, you're going to want to check out Acorn TV and BritBox. Now, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the mouse, because everybody on the planet right now is talking about Disney+. They're currently, I believe it's still current, running a special right now for $12.99, which gives you Hulu, Disney+, and ESPN+. So it's a great way, again, try before you buy. If you're like totally out on the other 2, you can get Disney Plus for just $6.99 a month. I hope it stays that inexpensive. I tend to doubt it just because, they are creating a ton, just like so much new content, particularly for adults as well. A lot of the Marvel shows, a lot of the Star Wars shows that are coming out aren't just for kids. They're producing a lot of adult content. So, plus the whole Disney Vault. So this is something that if you have children in the house, I would think is a must-have if you're going to go to streaming. And then you can share all those movies that we grew up with and maybe some of the more classic movies with the family and have those Disney memories that we've all grown up with. So right now, Netflix still has a lot of Disney, Marvel, and Pixar and Lucasfilms content. Excuse me, sorry. That's going to be ending soon. As soon as the contract ends, Disney's pulling all of that and bringing it solely to Disney+. So even though you can see it on Netflix now, not for long. So maybe something you wait a little bit for, but be aware that pretty soon Disney Plus is going to be the only place you can get your Marvel Cinematic Universe or your Star Wars or your Pixar films. And I know a lot of households are definitely probably watching at least one, if not all of them, on rewind. Okay, our sports fans. Again, this is where it's time for you to decide what sport, how many sports, how many seasons, and what level. Amateur, pro, all of it. Your best bet for all the sports would probably be YouTube Plus or ESPN Plus. But Hulu Live TV also brings a lot to the game. Both figuratively and literally in this case, I guess. So again, this is not something you need to buy for a year if you only watch baseball. If you only watch football, figure out which station has the most content, whether it be local or national. That will make a price difference. It is a little more pricey to get all of the games than it is to get just local games. I believe Sling does have Nessun as far as the local stuff, but if you're a real sports zealot, you're going to probably want one of these three. And the local news. So especially right now, I'm sure we're all watching Governor Raimondo's daily briefs and updates, and I'm sure you're probably watching more local news now than you've watched in the last 5 years combined. It's definitely given me a whole new appreciation for my local news stations, and there is a way to watch them. And actually, it doesn't count into your streaming services. For those who remember this, yes, but no. So antennas have come a long, long way. So it looks curved here, but what it is just a black rectangle square of plastic. This is the one that I had purchased for my living room. It works wonderfully. The nice thing about it is that it's not just 3 or even 5 stations anymore. Every station has 3 or 4 substations, which does a lot of classic programming, specialty channels for children and cooking and local news. So, and then depending on which one you get, you also get like an extra 25 channels of like total niche programming, from cooking and sports to riff tracks, which are just for those who love like funny commentaries over bad movies. That's totally your jam. So for $22, I was able to add all of that. I can still watch CBS like a boss, which is where pretty much all of my appointment network television comes from, but I have a lot of other options as well. And finally, we'll talk about some freebies, because there are some freebie stations, streaming networks out there. All of these are available. If you get the Roku, all of these are available through your Roku. They're probably available through your Fire Stick, or you can download right to your smart TV or gaming device. So these are just 4 of the bigger ones. There's a lot of niche programming, a lot of corny programming, a lot of classic programming. It really is all about what is your thing. So I would say there's no harm in downloading the channels and taking a peek and seeing if there's something you love. No harm, no foul, no cost. And again, just gives you a little extra bang for your buck. And that is what I have for today. So normally I would open up to questions. Because we are not live, I can't do that today. But what I can do is tell you that I'm happy to answer whatever questions you may have. Again, you can get us at our Facebook page at the Cumberland Public Library in Rhode Island. You can also email me at melissa@cumberlandlibrary.org, or you can call the library at 401-333-2552, extension 2. Myself or one of my great team members will be back to you as soon as possible. Again, thank you for spending some time with me today. I miss you. I can't wait to see you at the library in about a month, I hope. And just, we're here for you. Thank you. Have a great day.